Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and get into it. So we just spent the last 4 days. Lauren, you weren't doing the challenge, but Nicole and Alyssa, y'all did the challenge. So we spent the last 4 days just focusing on romanticizing self-respect in different areas of your life. And I feel like so many times you hear about self-love and self-care. And while I think those things are great and they serve a purpose, the one thing above all else that's really going to transform your life is your level of self-respect. And when you leverage this, your life gets exponentially better and you are able to step into your fittest and wealthiest self. And today we're going to go ahead and get into how you will make this your reality. So here is again what we really focused on the last 4 days. And all of these tasks did contribute to a larger goal, and that is becoming your future self. So we're going to cover where these tasks come from, where I really focused on pulling these tasks from ultimately. And doing this will lead to becoming your fittest and most fulfilled self. So why romanticizing self-respect? I think kind of sounds a little funky, I think. But I'm a firm believer in romanticizing the things that you want to prioritize and improve. So bringing in that feminine approach to a masculine action. And I've spent the last 7 years coaching women, and while more feel-good stuff, feel-good content may sell and may grab people, it's not how my clients get results ultimately. And for that reason, I will never push that narrative. I don't think that above all else, self-love and self-care and like being super nice to yourself is going to get you to move the ball forward in a lot of cases. And I am the coach who is going to get real results and not sugarcoat things or not sugarcoat how you actually make that your reality. And so ultimately, at the end of the day, you gain control of your life when you prioritize self-respect. That is the ultimate case here. So those of you who are watching back on the replay, if you don't know who the heck I am, let's give some context. So I am Renee. If you don't know, again, who I am, we're going to get into it. So I really started training clients in person back in 2017, shifted to an online coaching platform in 2020 while working on going to PA school. And then I got fully transitioned to entrepreneurship starting in The Resilient Woman in 2021. And I have always honestly been a very dominant person who just naturally leans more into her masculine side. So when I started my business, I fell headfirst into that hustle culture because I genuinely enjoy what I do. And in 10 months, honestly, about a year and a half into business, I had gained 30 pounds, became insulin resistant, and had really high cortisol. Also postmenopausal hormone levels at 26 years old, which is insane. So a year and a half in a business, I was good. At the year and a half mark, again, in just 10 months, I had done all of this damage to myself because I really went super head first. And there I found was a massive gap in when it comes to entrepreneurship and high performer focused fitness. And I know firsthand how important this is to the success of business and your longevity and your career. I am focused now on really filling that gap and empowering women to become resilient and step into their fittest and most wealthiest self by prioritizing their health. So ultimately, this masterclass will be for you. First, I'm big on setting expectations. So I want to let you know if you're here, again, watching the replay, I don't want you to watch this whole thing and not be a benefit to you. So it's going to be for you if your mornings are chaotic, coffee is your breakfast, working through lunch is your norm, and skipping the gym is more common than going. Or maybe you are just a really high achieving woman who struggles putting herself first, because if it comes down to working or prioritizing your health, work is always going to win. If you feel tired, but also very wired, this will mean that you're dragging all day. But when it comes to going to bed, your mind is racing. You cannot stop thinking about everything you have to do tomorrow, things you did not get done today, and what your future looks like. And just the smallest things keep you awake ultimately. If you can't seem to figure out a solid approach to create predictable fitness results, yet that's also flexible due to your very unpredictable schedule. So that is what you're going to benefit from. If you're in these spots here, this masterclass will be an amazing spot for you to hang out in and listen to and get value from. On the contrary, this is not for you. If you are looking for a quick fix or a meal plan, real results will stand the test of time. And I coach for long-term results, not rebounds that are initiated ultimately by quick results. It's not for you if you are fully content with the life you live. There is no shame in this at all. But if you don't want to be more fit or more wealthy or like live a wealthier life, this is not going to be worth your time ultimately. If you are expecting one-to-one coaching during this next hour, it will be a jam-packed hour. Do not get me wrong, but there is no way I can possibly give you the value of one-to-one coaching in 1 hour. And lastly, if you are not ready to show up for your future self, I surround myself with action takers. I will be giving actionable steps during this call. So if you are not ready to take action and want results to fall into your lap, this will not be of value to you either. Okay, that's out of the way. So in the next hour, we are going to cover 4 really big topics. One is the silent killer that is holding you back from having energy, losing body fat, and heightening your cravings. 2 is how to eliminate decision fatigue around fitness and nutrition. 3 is what to implement to ensure your approach will get you predictable results. And lastly, daily practices that will help you to elevate your faith so you can live your wealthiest life. So before we go ahead and get into that, I have to give you a little sneak peek of something I've been working on the last 5 months. And over the last year, I have really felt the pull to serve women at a higher level and women who want more than just fitness and nutrition coaching. So this 5-day challenge, Romanticizing Self Respect, was created off of the foundation of what this new coaching program is going to look like that I'm rolling out. Like I said before, when I was going through my issues, there was a massive gap in this area. And I really, really believe that God had me experience this, gave me this vision, and placed this need on my heart to impact more women on a deeper level and in a deeper way. I cannot wait to finally go in depth with what this actually is. Y'all are the first to find out, and I'm super excited. But I'm really big on transparency ultimately, and I wanted to let y'all know where the idea for this challenge even came from, why I had y'all do certain tasks, and we'll unpack that in this next hour too. But this is really going to be an amazing next step if you're looking for that I will again go more in depth on at the end of this phone call. So just very, very transparent about that. Now, while we are here, really, really quick before we go ahead and get into everything, I'm curious, which topic are you most excited for? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Drop that number in the chat, and I would love to know like what topic is kind of pulling you the most right now. Let me know, let me know. 2 and 4, okay. I love it. 1, okay, cool. Alyssa, if you said 3, we'd have all of them. Okay, cool, I'm excited. So 2 and 4, and then 1 we are most excited for. Heck yes. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. So first is the silent killer to progress. As an entrepreneur, let me see. 1 and 4. Okay, cool. I love it. The silent killer to progress is our focus one of this call. As an entrepreneur or high achieving woman, your stress levels are likely normalized and disregarded. So you are used to operating under high stressful situations, and you don't notice this until it literally hits you in the face. And I say this because it's all from experience. In just 10 months, I went from arguably the best shape of my life to the heaviest I'd ever been. I gained 30 pounds. I had no energy despite prioritizing sleep. I had acne all over my lower cheeks and my jawline. And here's just a couple of photos. So this is not the worst my skin got. It's just the photo that I have because I did not take photos during this time. As you could probably imagine, I was not super confident in my skin at this point. And your face, when it's all acne filled, it's puffy, it looks awful, and you're super insecure about it too. And then I also, here's what a Dutch test looks like. So it measures a lot of different things. Cortisol is one of them. And you can see my cortisol pattern is normal, quote unquote, but it's super high and then drops very, very low. So to give you some insight, you don't really want your free cortisol over 200, and mine was on the verge of 400. So my cortisol is very, very high, and I'm going to show you all a photo in a second that is very, very vulnerable. So bear with me, but it is where I was at when I was super, super fit to where I got. when I was 30 pounds heavier. So cortisol led me to insulin resistance, cortisol dysfunction, and a postmenopausal hormone level. So I had low estrogen, low progesterone, high testosterone. And this is all at the age of 26, which is not super common, thankfully, but it sucked to go through. So I went from being super fit, like literally best shape of my life. I was athletic. I was just doing amazing things. And then all kind of just, like I said earlier, smacked me in the face. And I got to 30 pounds heavier, super bloated. Like it's not a pretty sight. So ultimately, I needed to make a change, obviously. And I didn't understand how high cortisol really impacted me. So I want to kind of give y'all insight as to what high cortisol is really linked to. It's going to be linked to increased cravings for high fat and energy dense foods that are highly palatable, which is junk food. My go-to was crumble cookies. Every Friday I had that and I would eat it throughout the weekend and I would just eat whatever I wanted. It also directly impacts your appetite hormones. What this is your hunger hormones. You have two that are mainly we're going to talk about right now is leptin and ghrelin. Ghrelin I refer to as like your little gremlins. That's what's going to make you more hungry. So whenever we have high cortisol, this will directly impact our satiety hormone, which is leptin, which is going to keep us calm and level-headed. So whenever we have high cortisol, it's directly going to, again, increase your little gremlin hormone, so ghrelin. And that way you're going to have more cravings, you're going to feel more hungry and have an increase in your appetite, which is not great if you're trying to lose weight or just maintain your weight. You're going to be eating in a surplus. It's lastly going to stimulate a process called gluconeogenesis, which will lead you to insulin resistance, which is a precursor for type 2 diabetes. I don't know if y'all have type 2 diabetes in y'all's family, but I do. And I was trying to avoid this. And so me getting diagnosed with insulin resistance was not on the right path of that at all. And so I had to make a change really, really quick, ultimately. So we know kind of what high cortisol does, right? Now it's time to really get into how to lower this and what again, we know what happens when it's high, but how do we actually go about fixing this? So with lowering cortisol, I intentionally added this as a part of your daily task in the 5-day challenge to get you in the habit of implementing this during your day. It is really important for me to note, though, that cortisol itself is not inherently bad. It is needed in short bursts, but it is when high cortisol levels are sustained that cortisol dysfunction happens and occurs, and the negative implications will at that point start to set in. So this was again in your challenge. If you did not do the challenge, you didn't have this activity book. So here are ways you can lower cortisol: outdoor walks, sitting in the sauna, reading books, coloring, drawing, painting, journaling, prayer, meditation, visualization. These are all ways that get you to focus on slowing down and being more present. That's ultimately the way cortisol will get lowered, but it has to be done really consistently. So I had it be a daily practice in the challenge for this reason. Focus number 2 is going to be decision fatigue. So your ability to make effective decisions is limited to your energy, okay? And also your clarity on the vision. When it comes to fitness, this is likely not your wheelhouse. Therefore, clarity isn't there. You don't know what the next steps are. You don't know what that long-term vision looks like for you. You don't know what your body's capable of. And your energy is already depleted from running off of low quality to no sleep and really high cortisol. So this was another factor in the challenge because as a high performer, you already make so many decisions in your day. Most of the decisions you're going to make are very important and require a lot of thought. And so when it comes to yourself, it is natural to have lower priority because everything else will take priority over you when you are dealing with it firsthand. Like you're just tackling what's in front of you. You're not focused on what to do, like when you're going to go to the gym or when you're going to eat lunch or how you're going to hit your protein goal. Those aren't focal points whenever things are coming at you, like one by one by one by one by one. It's just, okay, how do I get through the day is ultimately the goal at this point. So how do we actually get predictable results? It's going to come through a couple of different things. The main focus that I like to look at is routines. So I had you create a nighttime routine to experience the difference routines can make. And your nighttime routine, in my opinion, is arguably the most important one to establish because it sets the pace for how tomorrow looks for you. if you don't have a solid nighttime routine, your morning routine, no matter how detail oriented it is and amazing it is, does not matter if you're having a crappy night of sleep the night before. It's not going to make a massive difference. So first thing to establish is going to be your nighttime routine. And then I recommend morning routine. And the next focus is going to be on habit stacking throughout your day. So this could be pairing getting your steps in outside with listening to an audiobook, or filling up your water bottle and automatically adding in electrolytes after that, just as like a part of your morning water that you're going to have as a habit. So how do we actually eliminate decision fatigue? Or why do we do it, I should say? It's going to really stimulate analysis paralysis and the all or nothing mentality. Those are really two prime examples of how this will show up in your day. And the goal for my high achieving clients is, how can I streamline fitness as much as possible to continue seeing results, but do it in a way that is second nature ultimately? So I want to give you a real example of a client. Here is Kendall. She graduated with 4 months, or she had graduated 4 months prior to this text, and continued making progress because the routines and the approach we implemented are second nature at this point. You can see her shirt in this photo is like still oversized. It's tighter than this photo, right? But it's still oversized. It's just more fitted. And the photo on the left-hand side, she looks happier. Her shirt is way more oversized. You can see in her face, she has lost weight. She is just like beaming. She has a lot more confidence to her. She has a glow to her. And she also sent this photo about her at a wedding, which she was like super happy to be in this dress. It was like the best text to get. And she was not only able to maintain her progress, but also continue getting predictable results because of the strategy that we implemented and created for her to streamline fitness, prioritize self-respect, and curate routines that create predictable results that even shocked her. You can see here, she's like, I'm maintaining, getting more definition in my arms and legs. She loves how it's just become a part of her life and it's easy to maintain everything. She had the shocking face. Like she's like, holy cow, this is insane. So how do I make this happen with my clients? Is I have them do really two things. One is the roadmap to their future self. This is the first step. We get really clear and granular on where you want to go, what that looks like, how your future self shows up, what she's accomplished. We just are able to visualize who you want to become. And then also through schedule audits for my very, very busy women, having an insight as to what your schedule looks like is super helpful for me to best coach you. And it allows me to get a deep understanding of where you want to go and the path of least resistance and where like that is to achieve this in the most efficient and effortless way possible. You kind of got a taste of this in the challenge through curating your nighttime routine. And I did give you a template as to what my also personal non-negotiables are to get the best night's sleep. And I recommend really creating routines throughout as many areas of your life as possible to put your progress on autopilot and ensure that results remain consistent. This will be a massive, massive part of creating results that become predictable. That is like the biggest goal here. Okay. Focus number 3 is training and nutrition efficiency. This is massive, and it's really imperative that your training approach is tailored around your schedule and that you are also eating to nourish your body. Because if you live in a life where you need to be efficient in everything you do to optimize your time. So efficiency in these two areas is vital. And if you're not efficient here, you will not see results. Point blank, nothing else about it. We have to be efficient in these areas if we are very, very busy people, which all of y'all are. So how to actually implement this. These are small changes you can implement today. Again, this is just going without saying, I don't understand, or I don't know everybody who's going to be watching this back. I don't know all of y'all's personal situations or the vision you have for your future self. So these could change and vary. However, 6 key pivotal parts are going to be: 1, a nutrient-dense, high-protein diet; 2, strength training 4 to 5 times a week; 3, hitting 10K steps a day; 4 is eating veggies with every meal; and then 5, eating your protein and fats before your carbs. This is like more of a way to eat your meals than it is an actual like thing to really add into your day. And then lastly is breakfast before coffee always. So with these 6 things being things y'all can do right now to just provide more area in your life where you can see progress and really show up for your future self. I'm curious, 1 through 6, which one are y'all going to implement tomorrow? Let me know in the chat. I want to hold y'all to it. So drop 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 in the chat and let me know how you're going to show up for your future self. 3, heck yes. I love that, Nicole. 5, okay. So hitting 10K steps is Nicole's goal. Lauren's goal is eating protein first and fats before you have your carbs. I love it. And then 3, also hitting 10K steps. Heck yes, y'all. Love it, love it, love it. Okay. Now let's get into focus 4. We have 2 more focuses to look into. So focus 4 is personal development. A wealthy life comes when you step out of complacency and into humility, constantly humbling yourself to acknowledge there is always room for growth. And this is one of the biggest keys, I believe, to becoming your fittest and wealthiest self. Because if we don't have the humility to constantly grow, we're never going to step into our healthiest and wealthiest self. It's just not going to happen. So how do we do this? And a couple of ways I do this is really staying diligent in the details. I am a big consumer of lots of information. So podcasts and books and different things on social media. And I want to always be learning. This means not only should you be reading a book, though, or listening to a podcast in the field or area you're wanting to gain knowledge in, but implementing it. I was very, what's the word? I don't know the word I'm thinking of, but I was just a person who consumed a lot and did not take action. That was me a couple of years ago. I would listen to all the podcasts. I would read all the books. I would just constantly be consuming, but I would never actually implement. And if you are not implementing and taking action, you are not actually learning and you are just consuming. We need to be not only consuming content, but also implementing what we have learned through that content to truly apply to our life and level up in our life, right? If we're just consuming and not actually taking action, what's the point in consuming in the first place? It does nothing for us. So always be implementing. And then focus 5, my favorite, is being faith-centered. So this is going to be a massive part of the pivot I'm taking in coaching. But Matthew 6:33 says, but seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. So this is kind of giving y'all some background. This is where the Gentiles are worrying about how their needs will be met with clothes and food. And he just replies that God knows your needs and they will be met, but you have to first seek his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. So I'm a big believer that whenever you center your life around faith and you come from a place of service, you will receive far more than you could ever imagine or fathom. And that's why I really am taking my coaching in this direction. So a couple of daily practices to help you to live a wealthy life. It's going to be reading, this is at minimum, reading the verse of the day in the Bible app, checking your bank account every morning. So reading a verse in the Bible app is, again, at minimum, because I just want everyone to get in the word in some shape or form daily. This is huge. And if a verse is the first step in that direction, awesome. The goal is going to be to get into the Bible and like read a chapter or just read a couple of verses in the actual Bible and listen to the word and put yourself in a good posture for the day, or get yourself in a good posture to go to bed as you have, again, been getting closer to God throughout your day. Checking your bank account every morning to really understand your current financial standing. Ultimately, this will keep it front and center. And if you want to change it, it's really important to have that be the frontal aspect of what you are looking into. So check bank account, again, no financial standing, keep it front and center. So if you want to change it, you know what needs to change. 3 is listening to a podcast or an audiobook, and then reading a book. Again, we are not just consuming, we are also applying. Okay. So kind of making this all come together. Throughout my journey, I saw firsthand that there was a massive gap in the online fitness coaching for high achieving women. And I found there were 3 types of coaches. There were the MLM coaches, there were the macro coaches, and there were the holistic granola, quote unquote, coaches. Now, if you have an autoimmune disease that you may need to go down the route of more holistic and like very, very strict coaching, that is totally okay. That just was not me. And I couldn't find a coach that I really resonated with and a coach that I was inspired by. And so just to be honestly quite frank, I wanted someone that was more like me. I wanted someone who did it all. I wanted somebody who prioritized her health, but also was down for a spicy marg and Mexican food. I wanted somebody who thrives in her masculine, but also craves when she can step into her feminine. And someone who is a go-getter, but also knows how important it is to slow down. So here are just like a couple of client surveys that have been sent through and how they described my coaching. So it was a positive light, role model, pushing me to live better and to pushing me to be better in life, support and knowledge, honest, hold space for me to be honest with her. It's a relationship, not an exchange, understanding, but calls me out and encouraging. Like I wanted all of these things in a coach. And that was honestly very, very hard to find without them being too far one way and not having that unbalanced balance that I was wanting. And then I started to, again, I was in this process of like really going through a lot of turmoil when it comes to coaching, when it comes to like where I want a business to go, and also like dealing with my health stuff. And then I would start getting text and check-in responses that were like these, which completely lit me up and led me down a path of really heavy change. And these check-ins and texts hit me like I had not experienced before. And talking more openly about my faith has helped clients get closer to God and deepen their faith as well. And that for me is a whole new level of purpose. And that's what I mean when I say that God placed it on my heart to serve high achieving women at a high level to really merge fitness, business / career, and faith all together. Which is why, and what ultimately led me to create Fit and Wealthy Women, which is my new coaching program. And I am really freaking excited for this. I have not said this out loud yet, so it's super cool to tell you all this. So what exactly is this level of coaching? It is a health and wellness strategy tailored for elite women, ensuring consistent fitness outcomes, sustained high energy performance, and empowering you to live in abundance and wealth. This involves refining your fitness journey while maintaining unwavering attention to detail. So again, when you did the challenge, we had a few tasks to focus on. And let me go ahead and pull this up again. Here was the challenge. So we focused on lowering cortisol, establishing and implementing a nighttime routine, training an outdoor walk, protein and veggie with every meal, checking your bank account, reading a verse in the Bible app every day, and electrolytes in your water. So I got all of these different things to do through the signature method of FWW. So for Fit and Wealthy Women. And this is the equation of becoming fit and wealthy in your life. One is resiliently handling stress to create consistent results while training and eating efficiently, tying in personal development to continue to grow as a woman, and also having it all centered around faith. So that's why I picked from every little aspect that was small and tangible for everyone to do, but things that really incorporated and encompassed what this program is built off of. So giving you a little bit more detail, Fit and Wealthy Woman is high-level coaching for high-level women. And it's going to be an approach that's aligned with your future self to ensure protocols create consistent, predictable results, curating seamless routines that optimize your daily life, allowing you to show up at a high level. No more feeling lost on when to fit your workout in or what to do whenever you're actually in the gym. Your program takes the guessing work out of it while allowing you to leverage your time. We're going to have weekly communication, scheduled group calls, monthly Zoom calls to ensure that we are making forward movement consistently and always have a high level of support throughout this process. And it's really going to be pushing you for constant growth as an individual throughout weekly personal development recommendations, monthly book readings, and intentionality daily with your faith. So this is like really what the program is going to encompass. And I, again, am like so excited to finally talk about this. But with that being said, for the next week, I will be offering early access to this program. And that is going to come with 25% off when you become a founding client, which is going to be super exciting. And I, again, will not be announcing this until next week. So you'll have first dibs on spots. I'm only accepting 5 women at this time into this program because it's going to be top-notch support and communication with me. So it's going to be a very, very limited and exclusive roster from here on out. But the first clients I will be accepting will be 5. So if you are interested in this at all, message me after and we can go ahead and chat more about the opportunity, and we can set up a time to talk and just like really, again, dive super, super in detail into like what this is going to look like and how we're going to take it a notch up from where we are currently at right now. So that is the rundown of the new coaching program. Again, we also covered what you can do to get predictable results, how to set your routine up to provide that for you, and then just like different aspects of your life you can level up to become fit and wealthy in every area of your life. So we are now going to get into, if you have any questions, you can unmute and ask me them. You can also drop them in the chat. I would love to chat with y'all more if you have questions on what we talked about fit and wealthy women, whatever y'all want to talk about. I'm definitely here for the next like 15-ish minutes to chat it up with y'all and answer all questions. This could also be questions to your current fitness journey. Whatever you want to talk about, I am here. So go ahead and drop them in the comments or in the chat, or even, like I said earlier, unmute.